All right, well, welcome everybody to our November Women's Club meeting and presentation. We have something really special for you today, but before we jump right in, I would like to start by giving you a little overview and explanation about our organization, the Greater Austin Asian Chamber of Commerce. My name is Mark Hansen and I'm the program manager. And as an organization, we are a private, nonprofit, membership-driven organization comprised of over 750 businesses, civic organizations, and passionate individuals. So our mission is to promote the Asian Pacific American community as a catalyst for local and global economic growth through advocacy, connections, and education. And we do that through multiple different services and programs. And these are some of our reoccurring, almost monthly events and programs that serve our members and our community. We have the Business Essential Workshops, and this primarily supports and provides best practices and help for new and small businesses. We also provide support for certifications, such for minority-owned businesses, women-owned businesses, and we work with a number of partners, such as the state here in Texas for the HUB program, as well as the city of Austin for the WMBE programs. And then we have our Women's Club, which is something we're enjoying today, and this happens every single month on the second Thursday. Sometimes it's in person at one of our member restaurants, and that's always so fun to hang out together. And then we also do conduct them through the virtual portal on Zoom, as we are today. And these comprise, and they always include a wonderful presentation by a women entrepreneur who has a wonderful advice, support, and tips and tricks for the other women who are part of this group. And then we have our member mixers. And this is an opportunity for our members to meet up, swap business cards, grow their business. And it's usually in a wonderful location near town. And there's always a theme that we can provide some information regarding business and opportunities, both locally as well as internationally. These are our corporate partners, and we like to always appreciate them as their support allows us to conduct all of the programs and services. We'd also like to let you know we're very active on social media platforms such as Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and LinkedIn. Check us out. And we would love to encourage you to be a member if you aren't yet. This is a QR code. If you scan this, you'll see some of our membership tiers, what our benefits are, and the opportunity to sign up and join us. If you have any questions along those lines, please reach out to our office and we will be so excited to help you. And with that, I would like to pass it on to Stephanie, who is our Women's Club champion. Thank you, Stephanie.
Thanks, Mark. So I'm just going to go ahead and introduce our speaker, Sarah Klein, really quickly before we get into the presentation. Sarah Klein is a business coach for small business owners, just like all of us, ready to make a lot more money, which I know we all are. As a 3-time entrepreneur and real estate investor, Sarah knows how easy it is to overcomplicate growing your revenue. She teaches how to align your business model, marketing, selling, delivery, and mindset to grow into the business you always dreamed of. You can learn from Sarah daily at brandcake.biz on Instagram, listen to her podcast, Start Your Business with Sarah Klein, or apply to work with her one-on-one. So Sarah, thank you so much for agreeing to be our presenter today. We are really looking forward to hearing you speak.
Thank you. It's my honor and pleasure.
So I think we're ready for the presentation.
Okay, let's do it. So nice to see everybody in here. Cannot wait for this. Okay. And of course, even though Mark and I had everything set up, as soon as we step away, it's like, oh, and then I have to get it all set up again. Okay, but we're good. All right, so welcome everyone today to how to get paid more. Everybody's favorite topic, mine especially. So before we get into it, I would love to just get to know you a little bit better. Are you an employee, an entrepreneur, or both? Please share in the chat. Hybrid model, okay, love that. Anybody else? Who else do we have in the room? Entrepreneur. Okay, so we have a lot of entrepreneurs in the room today. Perfect. That's perfect, especially since I'm a business coach. Okay. And, you could either share this in the chat or just unmute yourself and say it out loud, because I really love for my workshops to be more interactive conversations that you get a lot of personal interaction from. What are some of the challenges you've experienced or are currently experiencing in getting paid more?
I'll just share that. So I have a hybrid model. My boss pays me on an hourly basis to work on cases for her clients, but then I also bring in my own clients where I get paid a different, more of a percentage of what the client pays. And we've recently raised our rates just because, inflation, it's been crazy. And my boss is really, really generous with me in terms of what she pays me on an hourly rate basis. But even saying that, like, some of the challenges I've experienced are just that it feels like the expenses just keep going up and up and up, and it's almost like we can't keep up with it. And I feel really bad asking for more money because I already know that she's very generous with me personally.
Yes, thank you for sharing. And I love that you shared that, because something so important that we are going to really cover today, you're going to see everything we talk about today is all about the value that you are bringing to the table, as opposed to like, well, expenses are going up, so this is fair. I actually had a conversation exactly on this topic with one of my clients a few months ago, because her company wants to raise their rates as well. And she and her CFO were talking to me about it, and they were like, well, we just think it's only fair to raise our prices because of expenses. And I was like, hold the phone. Of course it's fair, but nobody buys things. Nobody is a loyal customer for fair. We buy things in our loyal customers for screaming hot deals. So I think for you, like, everything we're going to talk about today is really applicable, because focusing on the value is going to help you think about asking for more. Even though you're asking for more money, it's because you're giving your boss and your clientele an even better deal, rather than, oh, it's just fair because expenses are going up, so my thing should go up too. So thank you for sharing that. Anybody else want to share any challenges or just where you're at in terms of wanting to get paid more? And yeah, like any context for what you even get paid for in the first place, feel free to share it all. Keeping up with the demand from Emlyn. Ooh, okay, Emlyn, would you care to share more about what you mean by that?
Sure, I would love to. Basically, this quarter is my busiest quarter. And as much as I try and prepare for this holiday season, it seems like I'm still playing catch up. So like right now, as you're presenting, I am in my studio making soap, and I have an employee, or a helper rather, who helps me, but I just feel like perhaps I don't have the resources to do my job, I think is like the tagline for that. I feel like if I had somebody to help me more, perhaps I would get more production, and then therefore get paid more, because I'd have more things to sell. I'm a soap maker, by the way.
Yes. Okay. Thank you for sharing that as well. Yeah. And secret, I knew Emlyn was a soap maker. I made her talk and tell everybody anyway. So thanks, Evelyn. Yes. Okay. Thank you for sharing that. So it sounds like in your case, what we're going to talk about today is really helpful too, because it sounds like your brain is going to there's only one possible solution to getting paid more, which is obviously I have to sell more. So today it could be interesting for you to just hear what we're talking about, to see if there's actually room for you to just raise your prices. Not saying you have to do that, but that is another option for you just to consider. And I think what we're going to talk about today specifically could really help you just explore that perspective about how you could do that while still feeling good about it and not feeling like you're cheating people, because you totally wouldn't be. And then also what's kind of like beyond the scope of this presentation, but what I'm happy to talk about with you separately is just looking more closely at some of the other things like your delivery efficiency and how you're spending more time to really, like, if indeed you are like, actually, I do think I just need to make more, period, to make more money. I just need to sell more soaps to make more money. Like, there's all types of things we could look at in terms of your time management and how you're delivering and what your systems are like and how you're delivering that could help you free up more space and making more money that way. But what we're talking about today is probably good. It's going to help you just explore the path of, oh, if I was going to raise my prices without necessarily selling more soaps, like what could that look like if I wanted to do that? Okay, cool. And of course, please continue, everybody continue to share in the chat. If we're a small group today, you want to participate more deeply, unmute yourself. Like let's keep the conversation going and rolling. So a little bit about me, just before we hop in real quick. My name is Sarah Klein. I am a business coach. I'm originally from Los Angeles. I'm mixed Chinese American, despite what my curly hair says. My dad is Hungarian Jewish, so that's the curls. And the brows. You see how pointy those are. Anyway, yeah, I'm from Los Angeles originally. I'm a business coach. This is actually my fourth business. I started my very first business when I was 17, so you just can't take the entrepreneurial spirit out of me. I'm also a real estate investor here in Austin. I turned my garage into a studio unit and rent that out right now, which is so very fun. I also used to be a product designer, working in software, working in tech. That's what brought me to Austin in the first place. I'm also an ex-teacher and I'm an ex-actor. I got my bachelor's in theater, much to my mother's delight. Just kidding, she was not delighted. She secretly told everybody I was gonna be a lawyer until I went to grad school for computer science. Anyway, so the reason why I just wanna share this with you is, as you can see here, I've gone through a lot of pivots in my career path so far. I've done a lot of different things. And I'm proud to say that in quite a few of those moves, I've also increased what I was getting paid by a lot. So, I share this with, today we're going to talk about just some of the most valuable, helpful things that I've learned to help me make all those moves that I did and also get paid more at various junctures. And of course, you can email me, sarah@brandcake.biz, with any questions, any thoughts, any feedback. And please do follow me on Instagram @brandcake.biz. And I see Melody says, haha, can relate. Yeah. Okay, so getting paid more, whether you work for yourself or for somebody else, is the same, because it all comes down to sales. And I know that everybody, it seems like we have a lot of entrepreneurs in this room. So this is especially true for you, but even, for Stephanie, where you have kind of the hybrid model, it is sales. But remember, and this is the most important thing, you are never selling yourself or your value. I hear this all the time, both from entrepreneurs and people who are employees. They're like, I know I'm worth more. And I'm like, of course you are, because your personal value is infinite. Getting paid more is never about your value. It's never about yourself. Your personal value and your business value or your employee contribution value are totally separate. And I really invite you to remember here with me today that even if you got paid $0, your value is still at 100%. I don't care what you heard growing up. I don't care what anybody ever told you in your past. I invite you here today to step into that with me. Even if you made $0, even if, like, for the rest of your life, your personal value is still intact. When you have that attitude of separating out your personal value from your business value, it's going to, you're going to be a lot more open to, you know, putting yourself out there, to trying things like raising your price, or trying things like asking for a promotion or asking for a raise increase. So that's thing number one, is just separate out your personal value from your business value. That's number one sales rule. Okay, so laying it out into 3 simple steps. How do we get paid more? What are the 3 basic steps to selling anything? Step 1 is understand the result the person paying you wants. Step 2 is articulate how you'll get them to that result. And step 3 is you just help them decide if the value you're bringing by helping them get to that result is worth it. So any questions about this before I dive more into detail on each of these 3 steps? Checking chat as well. How do I? Okay, I can't see if to the chat. Where's the chat? Oh, team chat. Here we go. Nope. Okay, nobody in the chat. Okay, it seems like we don't have any questions, so I will just keep going, keep moving on here. Okay, so step 1, understand the results. In your customer's words or your employee's words, what is their goal? This is very different from what features do they want. A metaphor that I've heard in the past that I really like to use to illustrate this point is people don't care about like what type of plane, what is the fabric on the seat, what is their in-flight meal, as much as they just want to know that they're going to get to Hawaii in one piece in a relatively delightful way. It's like you're not selling them on the fabric of the chair on the plane, you're selling them on the destination of Hawaii. Does that make sense? So I really encourage you, you know, for those of you with a business, what is the ultimate goal that your customer has? Like with Emlen's business, what is the ultimate goal that Emlen's customers who are buying soap really want? For most of them, is it, and especially in this time of year, maybe it has to do with, you know, like having a super special gift for people who have skin sensitivity issues. I don't know, you know, I literally made that up because that's Emlen's business, not mine. But what is
that's actually why I got into the business, is I needed to provide a consumable gift that was low commitment. But yeah, I needed a gift for my in-laws. That was basically why I started.
Yeah.
So you hit it right. That's correct.
Thank you. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So what is their ultimate goal? And then you really want to understand, where does your customer or your employer think they're at today on a scale of 1 to 10, and why? You don't have to literally act like, you know, I'm not saying like, Emlen, get out here and ask your customers, like, where do you, on a scale of 1 to 10, where is your ability to find a gift? Like, you don't have to do that. In discovery calls, sometimes, like I do think it's a really helpful question to just ask them straight out like that, you know, on a scale of 1 to 10 with regards to where you want to be, where would you say you are today and why? You can just literally ask them that. But understand where they are today in their own words. What do they think they're going to have to do to get there? And why haven't they gone down the solution path yet? So we have to start here with listening to the customer or to your boss, hearing what they think, where they're at today, before we even make any proposal for getting paid more. Any questions about this?
Question, like when you say, what do you think they'll have to do to get to their end result goal, and why haven't they gone down the solution path yet? Those can be kind of, I don't want to say sensitive topics, but like, how do you approach that question with people. Like, so for instance, I'm an estate planning attorney. Most people don't like talking about estate planning because it means they have to actually think about their death and or disability. So it's almost like life insurance where you're like, hey, let's talk about this situation that you actually kind of don't want to think about in terms of end goal. And so I'm just curious, like in situations where the product or the service that's being offered is maybe less consumable. It's not that it's less consumable, but it's less like socially happy. Like,
Yes.
how would you approach those questions?
Okay, I am so happy you asked that. Oh, what a great question. Okay, so I'm not the estate planner in the room or estate lawyer in the room. You are, so you forgive me if some of my technical understanding is off. But this is the perfect example of understand your customer or your client's results. Because from what I know about estate planning, it's like I'm thinking about my parents. Why are my parents talking to estate planning lawyers about the wills, the trusts, the this, that, and the other? The result is not their death. Their result is they want my sister and me to have their wealth after they're gone. That is a very different goal and result you're talking about than death. That is actually the purpose of a parent's life. So I don't know if you've ever thought of it that way. I thought about it that way, but I think if you were to reframe just the thing that you're talking about with your clients, they're not planning for death. They're planning for their children getting what they've worked so hard for their whole life. Does that kind of like make a difference in your mind?
No, for sure. I often try to remind people that the goal in estate planning is really to organize themselves so that they can leave a legacy for their loved ones. But when I talk to people initially about estate planning and I tell them what they do, a lot of times the first thing I get from them, like as a response, is, oh, I don't like to think about that because, you know, I don't want to think about like all these things. And I do say, like, we don't want to think about your death. We hope you live a very long, healthy, happy life for years and years and years to come. But we know that sometimes life is unexpected, things happen, and we just want to make sure that you're prepared so that your family, your loved ones, will be okay if something happens. But yeah, a lot of the times the responses I get are very like,
yeah, I wouldn't even like, if I like what you were just sharing, I love that you shared that example. I wouldn't even be like, listen, I know we don't like to talk about it, but you want to be prepared. I wouldn't even be like, this isn't even unexpected, prepared, this, that, or the other. This is just like, listen, did you know that all the money and hard work you've been putting in, it is going to outlive you? And you get to imagine what that outliving you looks like. Because it's the same logic as why people want to think about their impact on the planet. Like everybody, I don't know, and I don't want to get political or anything, but you know, like for the people, everybody just voted yesterday or 2 days ago or whatever it was. We just had elections. People of all ages voted. My guess is that people who are perhaps more senior in their life, they're not like, oh, I don't want to vote because like, it's like, okay, well, even if you might die anytime, but like you should still vote because you want to be prepared even if you die. That's not what they're thinking. They're thinking, but my actions today are just going to impact the world beyond me. They're going to outlive me. They might not even be thinking about outliving. They're just like, it's my impact, it's bigger. So if I were you, it sounds to me like if you just a little bit of a place to tune up how you're communicating with them. It's like, don't even talk about death. Don't even talk about be prepared just in case you drop at any moment. It's like, this is everybody says they want to make a difference ever since they're a kid. This is how you're just making a difference. It's the easiest way for you to make a difference, is just being thoughtful about where all the things you've been working hard for, what you want, where you want for it to go. Okay, such a fun question, such a fun topic. Lisa says, these are great points. Thanks, Sarah. Yay, thank you, Lisa. And then Melody says, peace of mind. Oh yeah, thank you, Melody. Yeah, that's, you can just play with and pick up on the energies of which people might relate to more. Peace of mind might be one. Maybe somebody like me is more interested in the impact and bigger picture approach. Yeah. Okay. And for all you service providers out there, like finding out why haven't they gone down the solution path yet. Don't be afraid of getting in there. It is our job as service professionals to ask, because we want to help our clients actually implement. Imagine if a doctor gave you medicine and you didn't take it, and the doctor was like, well, I don't want to ask why they didn't take it. That's so personal. It's like, well, how's your patient going to get better? I mean, I'm not a doctor, but I would certainly ask, like, hey, is there any reason why you didn't take the medication? What can we do to help you remember to take your medication or feel better about taking your medication? I just feel like that's just service. That's just good service. And that's how I want you to think about it too. It's just good service. You're not being nosy or weird. Okay. So oh yes, okay, this is an interactive moment. So you can either share in the chat or just share out loud, given that step one. What is the result the person paying you wants for whatever your business is? Then you can shout it out, or give us I know it's kind of a deep question. So if you would find it helpful to get my feedback on what the result is, feel free to share. But if not, we can keep going. You can even just type it in as we continue. Maybe we'll do that. If anybody thinks of anything, just type it in, because I know it is kind of a deep question. Okay, step 2. Oh, we have a chat. We have some chats. Okay, Melody, people who work with me want to feel confidence and belonging in stepping out on stage. Yeah, totally. Yes. And for Melody, I would even because I know Melody's an entrepreneur, and especially for your marketing, it's like, what does that look like? I want you to imagine, like, good marketing comes from asking yourself good questions. Imagine you're on 60 Minutes or something, and the interviewer is asking you, okay, so tell me more, Melody. What does it look like when somebody feels more confidence? What does it look like when somebody feels like they belong? What are they doing? What are they not doing anymore? Like, getting specific in that way is going to help make your marketing so much more powerful. Okay, Emlyn, for solid soaps, a luxurious and practical gift that can be personalized. Yes, love that. Lisa, a room that is functional, meets their needs and aesthetics. Okay. Love this, Lisa. Thank you for sharing. Let's take this a step further. And even for Emlyn's, we can even take a little step forward, a little step further. Because why do they want that? A room that is functional and meets their needs and aesthetics. Why? Why do people care about what their rooms look like? Is it because, that's just what I would encourage you to think about more deeply. And for your clients, when you talk to them in any type of intake or informational calls, ask them why they want that. What's going to be the impact for them in their life for getting that? Understanding that is really going to help both you and them anchor in the value of what having a room designed even means for them. Okay. So step 2 of how to get paid more, articulate how you're going to get them that result. So, this is simple. And I'm sure you all know this already. It's just you tell them how what you do gets them to where they want to go. But we can take it a little deeper. Dan Kennedy says, make them an offer so good they'd feel stupid saying no. And I don't love the word stupid, but whatever, it's what he said. And I like the sentiment. It's like, when we are articulating the path of how we get them to where they want to go, we just get to make it feel so no-brainer for them that they're like, yeah, obviously, of course I would want that. So Alex Hormozy, he has this looks like a math formula, and I shared this with my boyfriend once, and he literally tried to like calculate the math, and I was like, babe, no, like he's an engineer. I was like, that's not the point. We're not going to get like a calculated number. But I do like to share this because I think it really helps illustrate the point here. So there are 4 components that we all as humans subconsciously have in our mind whenever we're gauging if an offer seems no-brainer or not, if a path seems no-brainer or not to go down. There's your dream result, which we just talked about, like the ultimate goal. Then there's the likelihood of achieving that ultimate goal. And then there's the time it'll take to achieve that goal. And then the sacrifices that you're going to have to make to achieve that goal. And forget about the multiplying, forget about the numerical, numerator, denominator, whatever. The important thing is everything on above the line, everything in the numerator zone, we want to increase that in our customer's perception or our boss's perception. And everything in the denominator, we want to decrease. So, let's see, do I have an example? Yes, I do. I do have an example. I know I do. Okay. So I didn't know who was going to come to the call today, if they were entrepreneurs, employees. So I used kind of an employee example here. Imagine if somebody says this to their boss. They're like, hey, like, I want to be promoted to senior designer or design manager. I've kind of already been doing this work for like a year. You and I both sort of know that. We've talked about me getting a promotion. We talked about that last promotion cycle. I'm more than ready for this role. Here are all the things I'm already doing. Like, what do you think? Is this the time? Like, can I get promoted now? So with this offer, with this proposition, I'd love to hear from you. Based on what we just talked about in this slide, where's my thing? Here we go. In this slide, what do you think is the likelihood of this person getting a promotion?
I'm going to say low because there's no concrete examples on why this person needs a promotion.
Yeah, yeah. Melody, yes.
Oh, yeah, what Melody said.
Melody said the same thing. It's not specific. It needs examples. Yes, very true. And also, let's remember, going back to this, like, I just like how Alex Hormozy talks about this, like going back to this, dream result, likelihood of achievement, time to achieve, sacrifices made. That offer we were just looking at has literally none of those things. No understanding of where the company is actually trying to go. No articulation of how promoting you is going to increase the likelihood of achieving that result. No articulation that you've even thought about, like how promoting you is going to save them time, or how long after promoting you it's going to take to contribute to the dream result. And like no notion or understanding of the sacrifices the company is going to have to make, both in promoting you and also getting to the result that they would promote you for. So by contrast, and I used to be a designer, so that's why I use this like design context, just because that's the last time I was an employee and I understand it. So now let's take a look at this one. I understand that we want to save X amount spent on engineering budget in, I don't know, let's just say 2023. In the last place I worked, the way that we created and deployed our design system saved us X amount of dollars over time. I'm already doing the work of designing components, but as design systems manager, if I could just have 3 engineers on a breakout team spending 2 hours of coding with me per day, and I would even add here as I'm saying this out loud, say just for the next 2 quarters, we could have a system that saves us X amount of dollars, and it could be up and running within the next 2 quarters. It wouldn't be a full design system, but it's going to get us so much closer to the goal that we need anyway. And, I'm happy to put together a proposal, just walking out the things I've done, what I'm thinking, the time it'll save us, and how, all the problems I anticipate us seeing and how we can move past those. I'm happy to put that proposal together and bring it to the VP of blah, 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 and help you make this case. Like, do you see the difference? So, okay, that was kind of more of like an employee role. So I know a lot of us here on the call are more in an entrepreneurial context. I would love, okay, now I'm just going to do that fun thing where I'm just going to call on somebody. Dun, dun. Who should I call on? Who should I call on? Okay, let's call on Emlyn, because Emlyn, you've been talking, you've been chatting, and that's like, I know she's warm. Okay, so Emlyn, like, keeping in mind these 4 factors, and remember I said at the beginning, I was like, this is probably going to be a presentation more aligned in helping you just explore your price, explore the path of like, could I increase my prices? So like, with that kind of in mind, of just like increasing the value you're providing, therefore being able to increase your prices, command higher price, get paid more. Like using these 4 factors, dream result, likelihood of achievement, time to achieve, sacrifices made. What is an offer? What is a path you could propose forward for your customers to have them paying you more money per transaction?
Yep. So I've actually been thinking about this, and I think about this every holiday season. I'm in the process of rebranding to make my look or my aesthetic look a little bit more elevated. I'm introducing a box to my soap, so it's easier to package. Less people will be touching your soap. You know, and then working on my website, like the ease of the website, and then also incorporating like, I mean, because you buy with feeling, so getting to know me as a person and as the maker, you know, kind of helps people see that I'm a small business, I'm a mom, you know, like getting my story. So
Yeah.
that I think helps me to possibly raise my price.
Okay, so some of
Is
those
rebranding.
some of those you shared, I think were spot on. Others of those that you shared, I think are like probably good ideas, but maybe not going to be the things that like pour gasoline on your income. So I love that you were sharing things about like, you know, I'm going to package things in a box so less people are touching your soap. Like going back to the result that, you know, you were even sharing here in the chat, a luxurious and practical gift that can be personalized. Like imagining that person who's, say, sharing these soaps under a Christmas tree. Like, yeah, having a box that nobody's touching my soaps, and that either you're gift wrapping for them ahead of time or that they could more easily gift wrap. Like that is a value add. That is helping them, like, in, you know, that's it's already in a gift format. That's their dream result, and it's going to help them, you know, especially if you pre-wrap it or pre-package it or whatever, like it's decreasing the time to achieve that dream result of like of a gift. So like the stuff you were sharing about like, you know, I'm a mom, I'm a small business owner, like that's really, those are beautiful things. Honestly, I don't think I don't think it's like, I'm going to start sharing that and then magically you're going to start getting paid a lot more. I think it's going to relate to you, but you know, like, and again, I'm just pulling this out of my butt because this is your business, not mine. I don't think about it as much as you do every single day, but like if I had a soap business and I was thinking about this in the holiday season, like, you know, highly, like if I was going with, they want a highly luxurious and personalized gift, like luxury and practical, I'd be like, okay, I could probably increase my prices if I really provided like a personalized high touch experience. What if I included at the beginning of every order, there's like a type form where you get to tell me exactly like messages you want displayed, any scents that are your favorite scents, like just really, like literally I'm custom making this luxury soap for you, your favorite colors, and then I'm going to gift wrap everything for you, and you give me your address. I'm even going to ship it directly to your door, so you literally have to do nothing except just tell me, almost like I'm Santa Claus, your dream, like just your dream vibes, and then I just turn that into like a sensual experience shipped to your door. Like that, I think is going to, like, and again, I just pull that out of my butt. I don't know if that's anywhere close to where your business is going, but
no, actually I kind of do that, but the point is not everybody knows that, so perhaps it's not advertised.
Yes, and that's the thing. I hope in your rebranding and website you talk about that and not, hi, I'm a mom.
Right.
Yeah, Yes. Okay. Beautiful. Love that. Thank you for sharing that. Yes. Okay. So, any other thoughts, comments, questions, or even want to workshop with me on that, on this piece of it, articulating how you get them to the result? Okay. And if you think of anything, you can always just put it into the chat. Okay. So, step 3, and this is especially important for those of you who are service providers, is to help them decide. And this is going to be your superpower as you help your customer or your employer decide if they do want to pay you or not, or pay you more or not. It's, you don't need them to say yes. Like, I'm telling you, almost like magic, every time I have in my own mind thought, I don't really need this, it's like people want to pay me even more. So, like I even describe it as almost like a leaned back energy when you're having the conversation with with your boss, or in a discovery call or a consultation call with a client, like having that leaned back energy of, you don't need them to say yes, you don't need them to take you up on this offer, you have so many other options out there. It's going to help you like listen to them better and really help give them the information they're going to need to really just make a decision rather than to like not make a decision ever. So, help them understand when they'll need to decide by, and get a clear answer. And this is especially for the employee context and for people who are who sell with consultations or sales calls or discovery calls. Do they think the value that you're going to bring with the solution you're bringing is worth the increase in price? Why or why not? Like, do they think it's worth it? And if they don't think it's worth it, that's okay. Why do they not think it's worth it? And then really hear them. Are they right? Or are they just confused about something? Like, clear up the misunderstanding. And sometimes you'll have to watch for things like body language. Like, sometimes the misunderstanding isn't even logical, it's more emotional. So this, I think, is especially perfect for the context you were sharing earlier, Stephanie, like when people are like, well, I don't want to think about death. Like, if you observe some clients even withdrawing, being like, oh, and you even say like, I'm noticing the energy has kind of, I'm noticing a little withdrawn energy. If you don't mind me asking, what's going on here with that? And maybe they're saying like, oh, well, I just don't want to, I really would rather not think about my death. Then you could go, okay, guess what? We're not going to talk about your death. When we work together, we're not going to talk about your death at all. I'll make you that deal right now. Like, we're not going to have to think about it. Instead, we're just going to think about all the ways your children are going to benefit from everything you've been working to give them. It's like such a different, that's helping them overcome the emotional obstacle. So yes, okay, let's check the chats. I do not need this job, quotes. Yes, thank you, Melody. Matthew McConaughey talked about this too to get his first acting gig. Producers can smell the desperate energy. Yes, exactly. And something that my mom used to do when I was growing up that I hated, that I am now so grateful for. Like, so I went to private schools and stuff in Los Angeles, and my mom was that mom. She was like, you're going into the gifted program, you're going to this special summer camp, that special summer camp. Like, we were doing all those things. And like in all the applications, my mom would always be like, oh, Sarah, don't forget to tell them that when you were 4 years old, you were in your like synagogue chamber choir. And don't forget to tell them that when you were in 2nd grade, you won a poetry contest for your like haiku, she'd be like, don't forget to tell them, like, when you were an infant, I brought you to this focus group. And she would really like, to an uncomfortable level, make me remember all the things that when I was like a teenager, I'd be like, Mom, that's not even relevant. Why this application? And she'd be like, put it there. And I was so embarrassed by that back then, but I think now as an adult, that actually helps me so much. And I encourage you all to think of it that way, to help you feel like you don't need them to say yes. Because it just helped, like, remember all the reasons why you are actually so good at what you do. People would be so lucky to pay you what you want to be paid. And how many options you actually really truly have in the world. And like when you really anchor in that, it'll help you it'll help you go back into, oh, I don't need them to say yes, because I'm really the one who's in demand over here. I'm the one who's hot stuff. Okay. So some tips. Oh yes, and this is kind of what I was saying. Just some pointers around these 3 steps that I kind of walked us through. Feel safe, abundant, and in control, even before you have the conversation. Like, do whatever you need to do. Journal, meditate, talk to yourself in the shower. That's one of my favorite techniques to just really help you feel like you don't need them to say yes. Help remind you, I'm already good at this. Oh, this one is so important too. Know your own personal boundaries. Make the decision for yourself first. Know when you are willing to walk away. So for an employee's context, like, and I was actually helping a client of mine about this, because, you know, her business is kind of unique because she also has a board involved and whatever, which is just like, okay, what are you going to have to, what are the requirements that you need from the board that they need to say yes to for you to be able to keep going with this, to keep working with them? Like, when are you willing to walk away? Decide that before you even start talking to them, so that it doesn't come across as you needing them to say yes. It's just like, I've already made the decisions. Now you just get to decide if this is worth it for you or not. So that's kind of like a more employee context. In a entrepreneur context, know your own personal boundaries. Like, you know, for Emlyn's business, somebody is like, Emlyn, let's just say I live in the North Pole and I need these soaps delivered to me tomorrow. Like, decide even before you start taking orders, or decide literally today, what are your policies that you're going to enforce, that you're willing to do, and what you're not willing to do, to just protect your own well-being and also the quality of what you provide for everybody involved in your business. And for those of you who are service providers, like, know where you are just not going to be willing to work with somebody. Like, if you just know that somebody is not going to be, like, if they're wanting one thing, you just know it's not going to be a fit. Like, whenever people come to me and I ask questions that are much more logistical about things like accounting or setting up their LLC, I'm like, hey, that's just not what I do as a business coach. You should probably speak to an accountant or a lawyer about those things. Like, I'm not the person to talk to. I just know that ahead of time. I'm not going to be there on the call trying to like convince them that they should be thinking about other things instead. So yes. Okay, another point, use clear language, examples, stories, and data. I know a lot of you guys were sharing that in the chat, so it sounds like you already kind of know that that's really important. Oh, and this is the most important thing, which Emlyn touched on when she was sharing with us. Value is perception. And I know when I first heard that, I was like, that sounds so skeezy, but actually it's totally not. So apparently, back in the day, the people used to be very unhappy taking the London Underground, taking the tube. People were complaining. They were like, this takes too long. It's smelly down here, whatever. And the Transportation Authority in London had a few options. One option was, of course, like fixing all the trains mechanically to make them go faster. But some bright person on their team was like, or what if we actually just make a better map and a better, like, in metro, you know, those, you know, you can kind of like see where you are on the stops in the metro. Like, what if we just design the map better to help people know where they are and how long it'll take for them to get to where they're trying to go? In other words, we change how they perceive where they are in the journey. And I don't know, I forget the details, but they did some type of study where, like, it actually turned out just by changing the map and improving the map, people's perception of how well the London Underground was working and how happy they were with it actually went up. They didn't make the trains faster. They just helped people understand better where they were in the underground. So I think it's such a good lesson for us. Like, before you even ask for more money, help your customers or help your boss perceive the value that you're bringing better. So exactly like what Emlyn was sharing with us before, it's like, oh, I actually do all these things that contribute to the value formula, but I don't know if anybody knows about it. It's like, yeah, that's the thing we got to solve for. It's like, make sure your customers know about the most valuable things you're doing for them. They're going to be so much more willing to pay you more. Okay. So pausing for questions. And when I say pausing, I mean, really, we're pretty much close to the end here. Those were the key principles. So any questions, any thoughts, please share either out loud or in the comments or chat. Okay, seems like we don't have any questions. So I always like to ask this one. What is one takeaway that you are going to apply from today?
I think for me, because gift sets are such a big deal during the holidays, I think that needs to be my primary sales pitch, I guess, if you want to call it that, or like my primary product that I want to sell. So putting my most valuable product forward versus like, oh yeah, it's there in the background, but you just don't notice it. So that's one takeaway I got from this. Thank you.
Yes. Yeah, love that. Totally. Ooh, okay, we have some good stuff in the chat. Melody says, deciding in advance what specific dream result I will provide for them and when to walk away. Yeah, totally. And I know that sometimes, depending on where you are in your business, it's like, one time I saw on Instagram, this was the craziest link and like craziest bio I've ever seen. It was like, I help moms with a bouncing baby on their hip and their macaroni cheese on the stove on fire figure out exactly how to optimize their Instagram bio and get more high-paying clients. Like, it was the craziest thing I've ever seen. I could tell she took the specific result thing way, way, way too far. So, like, sometimes the best way to get specific with a client or a customer is just to do step one so well, understand the result they want, and then whatever the result they want, you just help them get. That's the fastest way to really get specific before you have served so many people that you just kind of know at a higher level who are the types of people and the types of results you like to help people get the most. Okay, and then Lisa says, discuss why I bring value and benefit to the project. Yes. And I think for you, Lisa, just based on what you shared with us earlier, I think it really is going to come down to you just thinking a little bit bigger and understanding more deeply, why do they want that room? Like, and again, I don't have your business, I'm just making this up here, but like, if a lot of your customers are moms, why do they care about a nice looking functional room? Maybe it's because, like, just because they have kids, they still want to feel like themselves. If that's something you hear a lot from your customers, then the path forward that you offer them is like, listen, here are all the things in my delivery process that help center you. No matter how much you feel like your kids have to take center stage outside of our relationship with us, this is your chance where, like, I'm really going to hear you. We're going to put together this beautiful mood board that is just like your dream vibe. And you get to approve everything. For once, you get to feel totally in control. And like, yeah, we're going to make room for your kids' toys, but don't worry, we're going to make sure that you can't even see them in the containers we're going to design for you. So you know what I'm saying here? It's like, really understand, like, understand what they want. It's going to help you discuss the value you bring. Okay, great. All right. Well, thank you all so much for sharing. Thank you all so much for being here. Again, if you enjoy me, if you enjoyed this, please follow me on Instagram. My handle is @brandcake.biz. I am on there all the time. You can listen to my podcast. It's Start Your Business with Sarah Klein. I go on there pretty much weekly. Sometimes I skip a week, but mostly weekly, where I just teach like 30-minute-ish long master classes on all things business, both strategy and mindset. I didn't have room to put this in the slides, so I'll just share this out loud here. I am hosting my own networking event next Wednesday, November 16th at Mira Mira in East Austin. It is not affiliated with Greater Austin Asian Chamber, but you're still welcome to come. It'll be women small business owners. We're going to be talking all about how to double your revenue in the masterclass portion. So, Emlyn, I think based on what you were sharing, maybe you should totally come down. So that's that event. It's in my link in bio on Instagram. And then in terms of working with me, I actually am starting a new group experience. It's called Self-Employed Money Mastery. It's going to be a year-long experience for 6 small business owners, teaching them how to feel financially secure as entrepreneurs without a paycheck. So we're going to be covering all things budgeting, managing your money, earning your money, because of course, and we're even going to be talking about investing all without a W-2. So it's kind of going to be providing all my favorite things about personal finance and entrepreneurship and marketing and selling all into one experience. So applications open next week. Link in bios. I have that in my link in bio too, or you can message me. I also work with people one-on-one. If you're a small business owner and you really want that high touch approach, I work with people one-on-one for 6 months at a time. And that focus is primarily on just getting you to earn, like, let's just turn on earning a lot more money. That's really the focus in that. And if you want to learn more about either or just talk more one-on-one, you can always book a discovery call with me. I offer them for free. And with that, once again, Sarah Klein at Brandcake.biz. Thank you so much for having me today.
Thank you, Sarah. That was a really great presentation. Lots of good information. And I know a lot of the people on the call today took something away from it, which is amazing. So now we get to move into a time of just networking and getting to know each other. It's a small group today, so I don't think we need a breakout room or anything, Mark.
I will close the recording now.
Okay, thank you.